Hi everybody, Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Welcome back, and here we are now with part 6 of this build of this beautiful new kit from Airfix. This is the 1/48 scale Western Sea King HAS 1/HAS.5/HU.5, and I'm doing the HU.5 version, which is the red and grey one. So as you can see, I've done a little bit off camera rather than bore you to tears with it. So you can see, I'll take it all apart in a minute, you'll see it all individually, but you can see we've got the instrument panel there with the front seats, the seats in there. We've done some detail painting here. We've got the seats in here which have been dry brushed and washed. The floor is all chipped and washed. We've got the Sea King gear there, which is all now detail painted, and you can see we've got the gloss screen and everything on there, so that's all done. Seats are all painted up, detailed and everything. I think I showed you that before, and then we've got these little seats back here. So the only thing remaining to do now is to give this here a wash, and I will just show you what I do. And if you are new to the hobby, washes are an amazing way of taking your models to the next level. If I take all this apart, I can show you the floor. You can see all this just comes apart just like so, and if you look at the floor you can see that we have areas around the joins and the rivets where it's all sort of, you can see it's stained. And what I've done is just put a wash on there and then come with a cotton bud and sort of wiped it away and exposed some rivets and left some dirt around there, and you can see the wash has stayed in the gap. So what is a wash? This is an oil wash, which is my preferred method. You can get acrylic washes, but I much prefer to use oil washes. The reason being, with an oil wash, wherever you put this, wherever you use it, you can come along afterwards, even like a day later, with some odorless thinners or whatever, or some, the modelers. This is Modeler's World, which is available from Premium Hobbies. You can also use this. This is Modeler's World own thinner and cleaner for washes. It's less harsh than enamel thinners, and you can use this for your washes. And the beauty of it is you can come along 2 or 3 days later, cotton bud with this stuff, and just remove it, just take it off. I could rub that now with that and it would all come off. Probably leave it in the grooves, but it would all come off the surface. But as you can see, it enables us to get this sort of, you can see it's not only the chipping, it's got this sort of grimy, rubbed, dirty sort of finish everywhere where people have been walking. You can see it's added some detail here. It just basically picks up on any panel lines or edges or whatever. You can see I've put some in there after I've done the detail painting on the bulkhead. As far as this bulkhead goes, I'm still unsure. I found some pictures. There is, over on Brit Modeler, there is a walk around of a couple of different Sea Kings, and one of them is a HU5, and it's got the bulkhead painted in black. But it does look like it's been restored because everything is very, very fresh, so not sure. I emailed Luke, and Luke assures me that the grey is right. So whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? I'm sure there were some painted grey and some painted black. There were probably some with pink with purple and yellow flowers on them. Yeah. So basically a wash is this. I've got some out. It's basically, as you can see in there, it's a very, very thin, it's basically a very, very thin oil paint. You can make your own with thinners and oil paint. And all I do is decant some into an upturned Tamiya bottle, and all you do, you can see on here, you can see on here all this detail on here. It's all painted and the lenses are glossed and everything. If I just brush this on, you will see straight away that what it does is darkens up the area. Okay? And what it will do, if you thin it further, it will just chase into all the corners. Okay? And what you can do then is come along with I tend to use the Johnson soft cotton buds. We can just roll that over there and remove the excess. We can particularly remove it from those lenses. I can dab it. If you wipe it, it'll basically all come away. But all we're trying to do is just pick up the detail just to sort of highlight it and make it pop. Now on here, you really need some artistic license if you really want to make this pop, because it's down inside the fuselage, you're not really going to see it. So what you would probably do there is give it a dry brush with a little bit of silver or a little bit of white or something, just to really make it all pop out. if you want to go that far. And the other thing with these oil washes, you must make sure if you're using enamel paints, don't use these unless you've given it an acrylic clear coat first, because it's basically enamel thinners, if you like. It will just dissolve the enamel paint. So you need to be using acrylic paints. If you're using your good old Humber enamels, then you need to give it a clear coat first, or use acrylic washes. But I've tried a couple of acrylic washes that shall remain nameless, and I didn't get on with them. I much prefer the oils. You can see now that if you sort of wind back a couple of minutes and look at how it looked before I did this, you can see now it looks a lot more busy, if you like. You can see that it looks a lot more used and old and stained and everything. So I mean, we can just dry that off. You know, the compressor isn't on, Mr. Unprepared as usual, so we could just blow that gently with the airbrush just to help dry it off. And then I can come along with my pre-prepared dry brush. I mean, this is, as I said before, this is probably 3 or 4 months that paint has been on there. I can just very lightly brush over there just to make things pop a little bit. Just a bit OTT, because when it's down inside the fuselage you want to be able to see it. So there you are. So these washes will absolutely do you the biggest favour of all with your models. Just really will help. If you want to see more detail of the washes, go back and have a look at my, as you can see I can just rub it away. Go back and have a look at my K2 build. It was a beginner's build and I used a lot of them in there. So you can go and see that there. So yeah, I really like these. This effect on here, I don't know if you can see it. There's, rather than, that's the decal on there with the clear on over the top. And if you look at it, it's got like a sort of, almost like, looks like the moon with this very slight sort of image in it. And what I've done, I put the clear on, and then I've literally just got some, I literally got the paint off a dirty cloth, just rubbed the brush in some dirt, in some paint, and then just went round and sort of washed the dirty paint into the clear, just to give it a kind of, rather than that monotone sort of look, it's got that sort of just moon look to it. And I mean, like I say, you're not going to bloody see it anyway because it's way down inside the fuselage, but it all adds up, doesn't it? And I think what I'm going to do is go around the edge of here just to highlight the corners of everything. There you go. So there we are. So that's how we do the washes and highlight everything. The instrument panel, it's not glued together yet. You can see on there, I mean, I can go over this again if I want to, give that another little going over. You can pick up all the knobs on that with the dry brushing. You can see there's our console. That's some decal on there, believe it or not. And then the instrument panel there, you can see it's all done with the glossy lenses and everything. So, do you need Edward photo etch? Depends, doesn't it? And don't get me wrong, sometimes these instrument panel decals are bloody awful, and I wouldn't use them. But in this case, knowing how good Airfix decals are, I thought I'd go with it, and this is out of the box anyway. So I thought this is all about showing you what you can achieve out of the box. I'm adding nothing other than the bits of plastic card to block those holes off, but that's just standard sort of model building. That's not sort of modifying anything. So that, have I managed to get black wash down there? How do I manage that? All the way down there, all over my fingers as well. Messy puppy. Right. So, I think I better get myself cleaned up, and then I think we can start getting all this glued together now. I need to do the seat bases as well. I've got all our bits and pieces in here. I've got the P tube painted, ready to go on, and that's got, I noticed the top is like stainless steel, so I've done that in like an alclad chrome. See the top of the P tube there, all nice and shiny, so we'll get that on as well. So yeah, we'll get some building done now, and we'll push forward. Okay, let's start getting this all glued together. So we'll start with the simpler bits first, that are less likely to get broken off. So we've got this little piece of ducting here, and you can see we've got holes underneath. So what we're going to do is just come along with a radius knife and just remove some paint around these holes, just like so. Okay, and then plop this on so that the pins go into the holes. As you can see, that just stays there, and then we can come along with a drop of extra thin from behind, just puddle that in and let that capillary up into the joint. There we go, and that's that glued in. We can put it down because we've got this lump here which will stop the glue getting onto our nice clean mat. So that's that done. The other thing is I've noticed I haven't got that bit there. Where is it? What have I done with that? There it is. It's on a thing after it's been painted. So we've got to get that on as well. So I think what we'll do now is move on to the cockpit, because that way we can hold all this here. So these collective sticks, one of them, if you remember, one of them snapped. That one. So I'm going to put that one on the inner side. So what I'm going to do here is just put a tiny drop of super glue in the bottom there. If I use extra thin, the chances are it will ooze up around the sides and look horrible. So I'm going to get my tweezers and just plop that into that hole. Come on, go into that hole. There you go. Sorry about the noise in the background, it's Thursday, it's bin day. There we are, that's gone in now. That's the only thing about using super glue, it gives no lubrication, but if you put extra thin in there, it actually kind of lubricates the joint. So now we can fit the seat. So we've got the pilot seat there and the pilot seat there with the thing in the back. So I think what I'm going to do here is, once again, I've got some super glue on a cocktail stick. Just put this down in these holes. I need to get some more super glue out, don't I? Duh. Tiniest drop of super glue. This is the VMS Flexi 5K CA black thin. It's absolutely amazing stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to put that down in there. Because it's black, it doesn't really show up against the black floor and that. And also the beauty of it being black is when you use it, you can see where it is. Now I'm going to come along with a hard cotton bud and just wipe away any excess from the surface. And then I can put that seat down. And what we'll do is we'll put the front legs in first. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And then drop the back legs in. Just like so. And that's gone into position now, just like that. And then what we'll do is we'll put a drop of super glue down in there, and we will fill it here. I've had a comment that basically is complaining I'm going into too much detail, and rather I just got on and built the thing. If you are rude, then I'll block you. I have no tolerance to stuff like that at all. So if you want to be rude, perhaps think about what you're saying before you write it. Because there's no time for people like that. Just wipe away the excess, and then we'll plop this seat in as well. So yeah, you have to remember, and I've said this on countless occasions, if you look at the comments, you will see a hell of a lot of people comment that they love the level of detail I go into. So I'm basically making my videos for those people, right? If you want to fast forward, you can fast forward. If people who want to see more detail aren't seeing enough detail, there's nothing they can do if I'm just whipping through. I mean, there are people out there that will do a bloody 3-month build in a half-hour video. Well, if that's what you want to see, then come and watch them. Obviously I'm not for you, so there we go. But enough about that. They fit in there beautifully, those joysticks, control sticks, or whatever they are. There we go. So that's all in now. It's a lovely kit, isn't it? Okay, and then we can put our rudder pedals in. Now, these here, I haven't chipped them up yet, have I? I'm going to put another drop of super glue in here. So they are going to go in there like so. I have test fitted all this, by the way, guys. You should always dry fit your stuff. I've had all this fitted in here before, so I know it's all good. And then this one, I guess it doesn't really matter which way it goes. I haven't chipped them up yet. I'm going to have to chip them up, aren't I? Oops. Just drop that one in there. There we go. Just like so. So you can see there's the pedals in. All looking lovely. And then what's going to be next? I guess we've got this instrument panel part to go in. So I'm going to remove some paint from that area there. And then we can put some super glue on there that we'll put some around that hole as well. That can engage with that peg. And then we can drop this in here onto the peg and just push it down. And if we use a clean cotton bud, you can push that down there like that. And that fits in there beautifully. I'm just going to run some extra thin around the inside of there. And that'll work its way through the paint and everything. There we go. So that's that in place. And you can see now it's all starting to really come together and pop. Right, so looking at the back here, I guess we could put the actual instrument panel itself on, couldn't we? So that's going to go in there like that. Right, so I think what we'll do is put some extra thin on here. Drop that down in there. And then we can come up under here and put some extra thin in there, and then it could pillory up into that joint. There we are. So that's that gone together. So we can see now it's all looking very busy and very nice indeed. So there we are. Right. Let's have a little break for a minute and then I'll be back. Right, moving on. Let's start looking at this this rear interior now. So we've got this row of seats here, and they fit in here beautifully. In fact, they don't fit as nice now as they did originally. It's really strange. Before it was all painted, it just dropped in, but then, I don't know, maybe I moved one of the legs or something when I painted it. But there we go, that's just dropped in there. And again, we can come in from behind because we've got the holes we drilled. And we can get some extra thin in there and just put a drop on the backs. And that will save us having any gluey mess anywhere. Gluey mess, gooey mess, whatever you want to call it. There we go, so that's gone down in. We need to make sure we keep the floor straight, because as you can see, if you bend the floor, the seat will pop out. I think what we'll probably do here is put some extra thin quick setting. I'm using the quick setting here because it's hot, and burn through the paint a lot quicker. And there we go. Of course down here nothing's going to be seen. So there we are. Be careful of the glue on your fingers if you're going underneath. Obviously I'm speaking now to the newer modelers out there. If you are a very new modeler, you might want to get a couple of kits under your belt before you take this one on. It is a lovely, lovely kit, and I'm sure you do a lovely job of it, but it's got a lot of very tiny parts, and there's also a lot of options that you may get a little confused with if you are new to the hobby, so just bear that in mind. I also forgot to say I fitted the P-tube. If I built one of these again, I would fit the P-tube in its plastic state rather than have it all painted and then paint it and detail it after, because it was very difficult to get it in nicely and everything without sort of ruining the finish with the glue and everything. So I think what I'm going to do is leave this to dry for 10 minutes, because what I'm worried about is I'm going to end up having this not actually glued. So I got those glued in. I ended up going in behind with some super glue to sort of just lock them in, but it was really weird. It just, the floor just wants to curve and stuff, and the seat doesn't really have the contacts to straighten it up, so you might want to sort of glue this side on before you put the seat in. That might help things, or just, you know, glue the seat in at one end just to get it in place, and then after you've fitted this, come in underneath with your glue and glue it in. But there's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. So, not that you'd want to skin a cat, because that's just totally cruel. Right, so moving on, we've got this seat here now for the Sea King operator. That's an old joke now, isn't it? So I think what I'm going to do is glue this in from underneath. So we'll get our extra thin. And come in, we've got 4 pins, we've got lots and lots of contact areas to go in. Just like so. So that's that got in. I think Jess is going to bark. And then we've got this radio gear here. I think Jess is going to bark. Well, Jess is barking. There we go. I think someone's going to knock at the door in a minute as well. Okay, so that's pegged in place. So now we can come in with our glue and glue it in. I'll take that peg off because it's pulling it over one way. So get a drop of glue on there, get a drop of glue on to, where's the hole? There it is. So that's that glued in nicely. And then finally we've got this thing. Oh, what is that? If someone can tell me, I'd love to know. It looks like somewhere you hold flares or something. That just sits there on its own. Just like so. It's a very nice fit. Again, we can glue in behind there. Just like that. And that's going to sit up against the sidewall. So what we'll do, we'll set it over a little bit, just lean it over slightly, and then the sidewall can push it up when it comes on, so we get a nice tight fit against the sidewall. But there we are. There is our interior all done. So we've got the cockpit, we've got the radio gear there, and we've got all our seats, the rear bulkhead with the fire extinguisher. We've got the fire extinguisher down there in behind the pilot seat, you can see there. So all in all, a beautiful, beautiful little model. Absolutely stunning. And bear in mind, guys, most of this is interior. We've still got all that left over as spares for our Hasegawa Sea King should we want to use it. So there we go. Right, it'd be nice to have those seats to put in the back of it if I'm going to have the door open on that one. But there we are. Very, very nice indeed, eh? Absolutely gorgeous. Right, if You'll get these on now and close it all up, but first I'm going to get some photographs. Right, so looking at closing this up now, and I'm doing this live on camera for the first time. I've dry fitted it a couple of times, but I think it's going to be a bit of a handful. So I think what I'm going to do is tape it all up first. So the first thing to do is get some bits of our Tamiya tape here on the edge of the bench. In fact, I've got some bits over here that I can use. I've just done some work on the chieftain, and I tend to keep bits of tape so I can use them 2 or 3 times even, because masking tape ain't cheap anymore, is it? Especially if you get the proper stuff. So that's going to go on there like that. So we put a piece of tape on there, pull that around there, and then the back end is going to go into there like that. So again, I get another piece of big tape, pull that around there. In fact, I suppose there's no reason why we couldn't just tape this and leave it taped and put it into the fuselage and let the fuselage hold it all together. But I think now we can see the benefit of having those windows blocked off as well. So I'm going to grab another couple of bits of this 18mm tape here. So I don't think the little bits of 6mm are going to be man enough to hold it. So that's going to slot into there like that and go over the top. I think Jess is going to, but there's a dog outside barking its head off. You can probably hear it, I don't know why. Right, so piece of 18mm in there. She goes. Get that to go down in there. I mean, look at the fit on this, guys. It's just absolutely incredible. They really, I've just sent pictures of this to Luke, and I've said to them, you know, they've done such an awesome job. Luke at Airfix, that is. Not Luke at Rat Life from Motorworks. Okay, so that's a bit of a pull there. Maybe when we put the centrepiece in, it'll be better. So this is going to slot into the top. Yeah, that's going to pull it all together in at the front. So that's going to clip into there at the back. There we go, that's gone in. Right, so piece of tape over the top. Hold all that together. It's become a snap kit. Look at that, it's all pulled itself together now. Piece of tape over the top here. That's all gone down lovely. And then I think we'll get some more tape over the top. Grab this bit of tape, come here. You can see the Berlin brown on here. So we'll get all that taped together and up against the bulkhead. Okay, I think what we'll do is glue all this together here, and then we'll work our way around. But we can see now that we're going to see that equipment there through that window. You can see in there. We can see up in there. And then when we look through here, we're going to see the back of those seats. And then when we look in here, we're not going to see a lot at all. But that there I want up against the side of the panel there. And it is up against the side, it is touching, so that's cool. So yeah, we're good. We're good to go. We're going to see a lot of the cockpit in there through that door. We can see our P-tube and our red fire extinguisher and all sorts. So that's cool. Right. I'm going to replace this piece of tape with a new one because it keeps coming unstuck. So Obviously that one has had its life. A longer piece of 6mm to go across there, so I'm going to take this down here and then take that across there like so, and hold all that together. Right, so I think what we'll do, there's a bit of a gap there, get my finger in and squeeze that down. Right, so I think we'll get some glue into there, or cement. I get told off if I call it glue. I might see if I can get a peg in there and clamp that down, because I'm not happy about that. How that's lifting up. That's better. Right. We'll glue it all to one side first, or cement it all to one side first. We can run some cement in there, run some cement in there, and there we go. Now, I wouldn't normally put cement where there's tape because it can capillary up under and ruin the surface, but obviously here the surface doesn't matter. Get some cement under there and just hold that down. We'll get some in there. So there we go. I bet whoever lives next door to that dog loves them. You can hear it out there, can't you? Constantly barking. I think I'll get a peg on there as well, if I can. Hold that together, and then we'll get some cement down here. Get some cement in there. And that's as far as I'm going to go, because this here, because I've got this peg, it's sort of pulled it all out of shape. Is that going to, no, that's not going to stay together. Get some cement under there and then get that together. So I think we're going to leave that to dry for 10 minutes. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so there we go, all clamped up. I'm going to remove this clamp. Millions of you are going to ask, these are actually from Sweden. They're from a company called Rebel Hobby in Sweden. Okay. So, little tip for beginners: if you find yourself in a situation like this where you think, I want to clamp that bulkhead to pull it back, but I can't, I've got nothing this big to pull it back with, you could put a rubber band around there, I suppose. You could tape it. But another good way of doing it, if you can, just put a peg on like that, and then you can use that to hold that peg there. So that's a good way of doing it. I'm also going to do that over here with one of those big clamps. I'm going to put a big clamp there, and then I can use that to pull that back in once we've got this all glued up. So what I'm going to do now is get this here glued down. Plenty of cement, get a nice strong joint. And I'm going to clamp that down with this one, just like so. I'm not putting too much pressure on it, there's hardly any pressure on there at all. I just want to get that clamped down, and then the same, get some glue under there. That's all held together nicely. Get some glue into there, just like that. There we go. So that's that held together. And then what we can do here, as I say, is use that clamp as leverage for that. I'm going to move that tape from there because it's the glue might capillary under it. Grab my tweezers, move that tape out of the way, and then we can glue this bulkhead back to there. Let that glue capillary around the top. just like so. I'm going to put another clamp on there to really pull that bulkhead back. We don't want it interfering with anything. So there we are, that's our top all glued together. So we'll leave that to dry for a few minutes and then we can start to look at getting it all stuck to the floor. Alright, so that's all glued around there now, and we've glued all down the top. I'll just hair there. Need to look at getting these sides glued in now. I'm kind of thinking we could just leave them and let the fuselage hold it together, but let's just glue it all and see how it goes. So what you don't want to do here, this is again for the newbies, you don't want to put a clamp on and then glue it, because what will happen is the glue will capillary into the joint and then go underneath your clamp and ruin the surface. And I know in this instance it doesn't really matter, because it doesn't matter if we completely destroy this. But what I'm going to do is get some cement in there. Okay, we'll get plenty of cement in there and let it do its thing. Okay, so that's gone in there now, that's going to do its thing. And we'll do the same on this side. Get some in there and get some in there. Just making sure that it's in the right position. Position. I'm not going to worry about the back for the moment. So what I'm going to do now is pull this together. Once the glue is sort of gelled off so it's kind of sticky, it will no longer capillary because it's too thick. Just pull that clamp apart a bit. Get a clamp on there, and all I'm doing is just literally, I'm not pulling them down, I'm just literally holding it in place. Do the same there. Just hold that all together like that. And I think what I'll do is get a third one and put it over the top just to make sure it stays down. There we go. So you can see there it's all gone together beautifully. And we're tight up against those seats. Those seats there are tight up against the bulkhead. We've got this unit here up against the side good and tight, which is good. So everything is just bloody awesome. I sent these pictures to Luke, as I said, he's come back, he showed them, he sent them round and showed the rest of the team, and they're all very praiseworthy of my work. Thank you very much, guys. I'm very praiseworthy of your work. You've done a superb job here. Right, so let's have a look at this back end. What we'll do is take this tape off. I think I'll tape it here. I'll take this tape off here. I'll tape it there. And we'll run some cement in there, plenty in there, get a nice joint. As I say, I don't think you need to do this. And I'm going to grab a little piece of tape, just tape it over there just to help it out. And this side doesn't need anything to help it out because it's just staying there on its own. And if you're looking at this and wondering what that is, go back and have a look here. I think it's part 2. Part 1 I did the outside, and then part 2 I filled those holes from the inside. And the reason being I didn't want to look inside the fuselage and see the back of those plates that fill everything in. And I think what I'm going to do as well is run some cement down the back of there. Right. So again, we'll leave that to dry. It seems to be all I'm doing lately is leaving things to dry. And then we'll see how we go. Have to be careful not to break that lever off there. I've also got a hair stuck to that, I can see. It's one of the things about having a dog. Especially, I mean, she's due to go to the groomers in, what, 12 days time? So, she's probably a bit molty. So get that tape on there, hold it up here, and pull it all together. There we go. And then we can also run some down there. Let that capillary into that bulkhead area. There we are. Look how well that, the broom cupboard, what they call it, look how well that fits in there. Absolutely gorgeous. This really is a lovely kit, it really, really is. The other thing I can do now, actually, while we're here, I can run some cement around here and glue that rear bulkhead in. There we go. So that can stand on its clamps. And we're good to go. I'm going to get another bit of tape. Where have I put my tape? It's going to be 10mm. It's good to have a bit of diversity in your masking tape sizes, isn't it? So we'll get that on there, get that stuck down. Whoops. Get it stuck down and pull it round. Just like so. There we are. So we'll let that dry and then we can see how it goes into the fuselage halves. That'll be the moment of truth. So while this is drying, I've been looking at the instructions, and something I should have done ages ago is build up these exhausts. Not get them fitted to the bulkhead, just build them up so we can get them all filled and sanded and smoothed out nicely. So got them off the sprue. They've got some massive sprue attachment points on them, so be careful with your sanding. I've just noticed there, I think I've actually, oh no, it's okay. I thought they've got some massive sprue nibs on the sides of them here. You can just see where there's the different colour of plastic there. So just, you know, if you are new to the hobby, just cut them down about ½ a millimetre away and then just sand them away, keeping the radius going so you don't get a flat spot on there, and it'll all be good. It'll all come good in the end. So these halves here are going to go together. So we've got one there, one there. Make sure you don't get them mixed up. I'm just going to check actually if you can get them mixed up. Yeah, you can. It looks like it doesn't matter, but yes, it will matter because they're different on the back end. So that part came from there, didn't it? So that was going to go on there. Yeah, so make sure when you look at the back end, you have that, okay? Because you have, if you have that, you can see there's a lug there, and it's going over to a dead end there. So that is wrong. That is right. Okay, so you can see there it starts here and goes all the way around and carries on into that one. So if you do get your parts mixed up, that's how to get it sorted. And we'll look again at the ends as well. I'm going to put some cement in here and it's going to capillary under my fingers, but that doesn't matter. You see what happens if you hold a part on its joint, the glue will capillary under your finger. But we're going to be filling and sanding in that area anyway. So what we'll do is grab a pair of tweezers and use them just to align everything. Get everything nicely lined up just like that. There we go. So that's that done. Now this end here, okay, this is actually what's going to go into there. So if you get it wrong, this piece physically won't fit. Now I don't know what the difference is in these two, but make sure you don't get them mixed up. Okay, so that's gone together there. Okay, so that's gone together like that. We'll do the same on the other one, and then we'll let them dry. It's just like everything else we're doing today, and then we'll get them filled and sanded. We'll probably put some of that black super glue around all the seams and then sand it all out nicely. As I said, I should have done this earlier. I'm just looking at that part there. It looks like they are handed, because that is not on the centre, so don't get them mixed up. Cut them off. What I did is I cut the whole of the end of the sprue off, and you can see here I cut the whole end of the sprue off where they all were. I think they were over here, and then yeah, it was here. So I cut the whole end of the sprue off with the tab, the number tabs, and then I could clean them all up and get them together. So I'll get this done and then I'll come back and we'll see how they look. And we're back. So I ran around the inside of those exhausts with some black Mr. Surfacer just to sort of clean up the seams, and then I've sprayed inside them black to get them all black inside, just as an initial coating. And then I've also sprayed where they're going to glue to black, so you can see they're going to fit in there, and then you'll look in there and you won't see anything, and they are absolutely superior to the Hasegawa ones. And then they fit inside here and they look like they fit perfectly, just like so. So very nice indeed. So there's no need to worry about the seams on the outside because they're all hidden. I've also run around here with some black paint just so we don't see any grey plastic after it's all done. So what we can do now is grab some of our extra thin and get these glued together. You'll notice one has a notch in it there and the other one doesn't have a notch in it, so they're sort of handed. I think they have to sort of face downwards slightly or upwards, is it? So that's going to go in there. Drop of cement. Make sure they're well glued in. We don't want them coming out, and there is a lot of paint in there. Can I please have some cement on the brush? Thank you. There we go. And then pop that one in there, just like so. Get plenty of cement in there, let it capillary around. There's a great big drop went in there then. There's enough to glue the whole fuselage halves together. Right, so that's those glued in, and then that is going to fit in there like that. So you can see they are a lovely fit. So that's going to go in like that, isn't it? They're telling you not to glue this to the actual fuselage itself. It's a bit weird, something doesn't seem right. Is it going that way? Is that why? No. Something doesn't seem right here. Because to get that to fit in there nicely, it goes on an angle like that. Okay, fits in that side nicely. But not there, that's weird. Okay, it just needs a bit of effort to push it in, that's all. And I can see that we've got a bit of a cutout there in the plastic. It's like it's got a bit of flash on it. So I'm just going to very lightly trim that. You can see there's like a step there. So I'm just going to lightly, I'd rather have a gap than a step. Doesn't look very nice at all. I've got a glass up here that I keep all my old bits of emery and stuff in. So I'll just make that into a tube. And just get in there and just clean that up. I'm going to have to bloody paint it again. No, I won't. Sod it, it'll be okay. Right, just check this side. Yeah, that side's perfect. So that's that sorted. Maybe that's what was stopping it going in. Look at that. Probably was. Because it fits now. So we have still got a bit of a step there. So have a look on your kit. If it's a chip or an error or something in the mould, then yours might be the same, and it'll be very difficult to eradicate once you've got it all together. Just get in there, just smooth that out. There we are, job done. Right, so now we can move on. So that's those built up. Our inner fuselage is over here, it's all dry by now, so we can take these clamps off. Excuse me, and we'll see how this fits. We'll get this tape off as well. We'll see how it all goes together. There's actually I've done a few little dry fits, but never with it obviously built up, because you've just seen me build it up on camera. But I should imagine this is going to fit beautifully. I should imagine this is going to be lovely. There's a text message for me. This idea of having this separate spine is just amazing. It's along here. Look at that. That's perfect. Absolutely bloody perfect. Look how the windows line up. Absolutely gorgeous. Simply stunning. So I think we can go on and get that glued together, can't we? Something I did want to do, and I should have done before I put the outside on, I can see a Jess hair in there, is dull down this P-tube, the actual black part of the P-tube. That hair does not want to come out. There we go. So I think I might just do that. I'll do that off camera. I'll be back in a sec. I'm just going to put some matte varnish over it. Okay, so looking in the instructions, a few things we must remember. The built-up part is also everything. Don't forget that piece there has to go in. That's that piece there. That has to go in. Something stuck to my fingernail. We've got to build up these exhausts and put those in. It says do not glue for obvious reasons. And then we're going to get our fuselage together, and don't forget that piece, because you won't be able to get that in afterwards, either that piece B3 that fit it. So we're going to get that on there, get this together, get that in, and then get the other fuselage hat on. So let's get on with that, and then we can call it a day for this video. So that's going to sit in there. Okay, so it says do not glue, so that's going to go in like that. That's going to take some manipulation. Right, so there we go. So that's got, so get your exhaust in first, I think, and then play with your fuselage after. We can see there that's sort of gone over on an angle, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. Yeah, let's have a look at how's it supposed to go in the instructions. You see, they're showing it there as being parallel. Mine won't go parallel. That bottom, there we go. There's that little nubbin on the bottom there. That little flange there sticking out. That bit there will actually cause it to go like that. So that's gone vertical now. So now I can see where they say don't glue it. And we're going to make sure our floor is all in line with those grooves and everything. So that's all good. Then I'm not going to glue the fuselage to the floor, because like we may need to spread it or something for the bottom to fit, or for the glazing to fit. And then this is going to go on here like so. That's going to take quite a bit of effort to get that in there, and then get that bulkhead somehow to come up. There we go. You hear that click? So basically that has to go. You need to be a little bit aggressive with it. You could just cut them off, but I would say keep them on there because they happen to keep it up. But that's going to take some doing. So what we're going to do now, because this is going to be all covered up, I shall glue this want to get plenty of cement in there. There we go, that's a good large dollop. Got a good strong joint. Make sure I don't put your finger in it like I just done. Bloody idiot. That was lucky, my finger went there and not here. Just got it on the detail there, look. Ah, bloody fool. And then we'll get that, make sure it's all level. So we're going to push the fuselage half down, which is higher. Get it to all go together. So grab a piece of this tape that we used earlier. Oh dear. I do make a fuss of things, don't I? So get that together like that. Get that piece of tape on there and pull it tightly over and let that glue dry off on there. Now here again we need to make sure the floor has gone in, and it has. It's gone in beautifully all the way around, so that's all good. So what I'm going to do now is use one of my clamps just to hold the fuselage halves together in the middle, just to stop the floor popping out. And then we can come along, glue this down here, glue that down there, and we'll all be done. So here we can really go to town with the glue, because the beautifully engineered design, they've got this separate, the cover for the tail shaft tube is beautifully designed. So it covers up, and I've done it. I've done exactly what I said not to do. I forgot to put that piece in there, look. Jerk. Let me deal with that now. In fact, I'll leave it on camera, then you can see what to do if you make the same mistake. Hopefully you won't make the same mistake, because you just see me do it. So we'll get that clamp off of there. We should be able to pull this rear fuselage apart. What a complete and utter idiot. This is what happens when you do videos, you see. You're trying to concentrate on everything at once, and it just doesn't work like that. So I should be able to slide that down in there. Get it together like that. There we go. I'm just wondering if I can get that to lift up. Nope, that is it. So that's that in there, right. So that's gone in. So we can run some cement in there, we can run some down the sides there. Drop down there, and you can see that's what's happening. There's a ridge on that roof piece that's keeping that pressed up. Again, beautiful design. And what we will do here is, before we fit that upper tube, we will get that all leveled out there. I'm kind of wondering if I can get something under it to push it up at the back. There we go. Right. God, that would have been a nightmare if it had all dried, wouldn't it? Oh dear. Like I would say, make sure you don't do something and go and do it myself 2 minutes later. I expect you were all shouting at the screen. This will catch the ones out who just stop the video and comment, because I know people do that. I've done it myself. You stop the video and say, hey mate, you missed out part 26 when you put that together. And then you look back at the comments and you go back and watch the video, I mean, and 2 minutes later he says, oh dear, I missed out part 26, and you've already commented. So that's that glued together, and then under here we'll do the same. Get some cement in there, get some cement into there, just like so, and then some in there. This lump here has got to be removed. And what I'm going to do, I didn't remove it when they ask you to, because it's got a hole in it. This lump here I'm talking about. And what I'm going to do is fill that up with a bit of stretch sprue or something, and then we can cut it all off and sand it all in one. So the whole job will be done in one step. Right, I can see a little bit of misalignment of the lower fuselage there. We'll squeeze all that together, make sure that's all gone together nicely. Can I get a peg to stay on there? Not that I really need to, I don't think. It's just staying together on its own. Believe me guys, this kit is gorgeous. It is. I'm not saying it because I got it for nothing. It is gorgeous. I'd say it's one of Airfix's best. It's just up there with the rest of them. It's just brilliant. Now that there I'm not going to glue together yet because it may need to be manipulated for this piece in here to fit, so I'm not going to glue that together yet. I will glue the back together. There's a bit of misalignment there. You can see it wants to sit with this side higher than that side, so I've just got to keep it down. So I'm going to get a drop of super glue. Oh, my super glue has dried up because it's quite a warm day today. So this is the ASK instant super glue. It's absolutely bloody brilliant. It really is instant. I'm going to make sure I've got that nice and level there. And I'm going to put a blob of super glue in the back here. And that will dry and lock that together. There we go. So a little bit of sanding, a little bit of dressing, that'll be done. We'll have to put some Mr. Surfacer in there, level that out. Very, very nice indeed. It's all gone together beautifully. Still got a little bit of misalignment here at the back, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get some super glue, get it down in that joint behind the flange. There. And there we go. So I can pull that into its correct alignment, just like so. And we have a situation of job done. I'm going to put a drop in there as well. And there's a location pin down in there, I can put some in there. And there we are. And as I say, I'm not going to do any of this until we got the floor in. And there we are. Leave that to dry. And we're good to go. I'm sure this floor is going to fit in here beautifully. Yes. What more would you expect? It's wonderful, isn't it? I think I may actually fit that blanking panel before we put the floor in, because then I can glue it from the inside. Thinking ahead, see, this is where years of modelling comes into play. Just thinking about stuff like that. And you can pick up on that by watching the videos, which is exactly what you're doing right now. Right, so I am going to call that a day for this one. It's been just over an hour, because having the fuselage halves together is a pretty major stage in the assembly of any model. As I say, I'm not gluing this here because I may need to move that around to get the piece in there. Not gluing down there at all because we may need to spread it apart. Not gluing here, not gluing there, not gluing any of these floor panels in or anything. I'm just going to leave all that as a press fit because it ain't going to go anywhere, is it? So there we go. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. I think I'll put some super glue in there as well to weld that together, or lock it together. Hope you've enjoyed this, and hope you've pre-ordered one already from wherever you decide to pre-order from, and hope you've enjoyed this. So I will see you all soon for part 7, isn't it? Part 7 next, and I think this is going to fly together now. Fly. There we go. Don't forget to put that piece in, guys. And then we're going to move on to putting these landing lights in. We're fitting that in if we're doing A and B. And then here, as I say, this piece here is going in the same time as the floor. If I were you, I would put that piece in, glue it from behind, and then you don't have any issues with glue on the outside. So I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.